Hey guys, this is ToxicTuna, and today I decided we should do another Reading Your Life is Strange theory video. This would be the third video of the series, I think. It's been kind of a long time since we've done this, but yeah, you guys have posted a lot of good stuff, so I really wanted to share it, so let's do it. What if the Prescotts have their own time traveler? The Prescotts have a long lineage, which could possibly have time travel powers as well. This would add that they know of the storm, and that is why they are making so many plans to protect the citizens of Arcadia Bay. So in my Connecting the Dots theory video, I basically hinted at the fact that the Prescotts know of the coming storm and are making measures to keep it from happening, yet preparing for the worst. So there was a few people who kind of questioned it, which is of course understandable, and they questioned it because that theory means that the Prescotts have some sort of ability. Now it could be something completely different than Max's ability, but it would make a bit more sense if they had a similar power to Max, that being the ability to travel through time. Now if they could travel through time, and if that did help them discover about the storm, then that would mean that they could see into the future, not like Max who can only go into the past. So then if the Prescotts can see into the future, couldn't they just use that in the first place to figure out who the time traveler is? Well, maybe, but then again, maybe the Prescotts can only see deep into the future. If they set up bomb shelters about 100 years ago, then that would mean they knew about this for a very, very long time. So maybe they can really only see what happens in the much distant future, and with that information they set up the bomb shelters and began construction on Prescott Estates to save the people of Arcadia Bay. In episode 4, Chloe leaves her laptop open when she and Max leaves for the barn. On the laptop is the location of the barn in what looks to be Google Maps. The theory is that David, if not kicked out from the Price household, may find this information while they are gone. He already has the coordinates from tracking down Nathan's car. Knowing David, he may investigate as to why they were there in the first place. If David is absent from the house in episode 4, however, I imagine he wouldn't be able to figure this out and would be mostly uninvolved in saving them. So this is a really good point and a really interesting theory. So in one of my videos I mentioned that Nathan was most likely the only person who could save Max, considering he's the only person who knows the location of the darkroom. However, it is true that Chloe has the location of the barn right on her computer. Considering that Chloe is now dead and Max is taken to the darkroom by Mr. Jefferson, no one will be returning home that night, which will obviously worry the Price family. This could mean that the decision as to whether or not you blame David could result in some serious consequences. If David was not blamed, then he might be able to track down Max and save her from Jefferson. If David was blamed and thus kicked out of the house, then maybe someone else will have to save Max. What we could really see is certain people saving Max depending on your decisions in the past. So for instance, if you are nice to Nathan, then he might go into the darkroom to save you. If you don't blame David, then maybe he'll save you. If you were not good to either of them, then maybe Max will have to save herself, or I suppose it's completely possible that she might not be saved at all. It's also worth noting that of course Joyce could try to save Max without David's help, which could ultimately lead to Joyce being in a difficult situation as well. So basically, certain characters might not be the best characters to save you, and could thus result in that character being hurt, or even killed in the attempt to do so. What if Rachel Amber also had a premonition about the storm coming? While she was drugged, she told Nathan about this, who then told his father and Mr. Jefferson. Sean Prescott decides to take advantage of this so he can develop Pan Estates and tighten his grip on Arcadia Bay. So this could be an alternative to Theory 1. Instead of the Prescotts having their own time traveler, they could have actually used Rachel. I'm guessing that this theory would therefore assume that, just like Max, Rachel Amber is a time traveler, and therefore Rachel may have had the same headaches or flash forwards like Max has, and accidentally told the Prescotts of this information while drugged. The only issues I see with this is, number one, why would the Prescotts believe what a drugged young girl says, especially when she's talking about predicting the future, and number two, this theory wouldn't exactly explain the bomb shelters being built so early on in the 1900s, though it's completely possible that that bit of information may have been just used to throw us off. Nonetheless, it would be a pretty big shock to think that Rachel may have helped the Prescotts, whether intentionally or not. Is Rachel really dead? Because I feel like it's someone else, because did we see the face of the dead body? Nathan knows she's probably not dead, because in episode 3 he says, "Rachel, is that you?" when Max was dressed in her clothing. So this theory was something I've seen a lot, though I'm not too sure about it myself. It's completely true that we have not seen the face of the dead body. Really, we have no clue if what we are seeing even is a dead body. The only thing we really know is that it smells, but obviously the huge hint that it could be Rachel comes from the photo we find of her in the darkroom. That photo proves that Rachel, at one point in time, was at that exact spot. Now, this theory did mention the line that Nathan says in the Two Whales diner. When Max walks up to him with Rachel's clothes on, he seems pretty excited, thinking that Max is Rachel Amber, only to be pretty disappointed in the end to find out that it really was just Max. So this could suggest that Rachel is alive, but it could also just mean that Nathan doesn't know that Rachel is dead. Maybe Mr. Jefferson and Sean just didn't tell him, and he might just be too afraid to ask. Alright guys, so last theory isn't really a theory, but it's a really interesting line in the game that I for one missed, and it definitely brings about quite a bit of questions, so here it goes.
Time. But he could be talking about photography, as he likely was.
Okay, I'm in class. Everything's cool. I'm okay.
From light to shadow. From color to chiaroscuro. Now, can you give me an example of a photographer who perfectly captured the human condition in black and white?
I didn't fall asleep, and that sure didn't feel like a dream.
Bueller?
Weird.
Diane Arbus.
There you go, Victoria. Why Arbus?
Because of her images of hopeless faces, you feel like totally haunted by the eyes of those sad mothers and children.
She saw humanity as tortured, right? And frankly, it's bullshit. Shh. Keep that to yourself. Seriously, though, I could frame any one of you in a dark corner and capture you in a moment of desperation. And any one of you could do that to me. Isn't that too easy? Too obvious? What if Arbus chose to capture people at the height of their beauty or innocence? She had a brilliant eye, so she could have taken another approach.
Alright, so knowing what we know now, why in the hell would Jefferson say any of that? He's literally calling his own work too easy and too obvious, right? Capturing girls in a moment of desperation is exactly what Mr. Jefferson does, but maybe what he is saying is that he wants to be something more than Diane Arbus. Arbus simply captured people in everyday life, with all of her images appearing in black and white and depicting that tortured humanity that Jefferson speaks of. But that's too easy. Jefferson needs to be something more. He needs to take the people out of their everyday life and put them into an unknown situation. Drugged, kidnapped, and sometimes even killed. The pictures that Jefferson takes aren't easily done, and for most people it wasn't very obvious either. Mr. Jefferson is convinced that his work is something more. Something that someday a teacher will be talking about in their class. Basically, the darkroom is his legacy, with each of his binders being a twisted work of art in the eyes of a clearly troubled man. Alright guys, I'm going to be ending that there. Thank you all so much for continuing to comment as well as leaving some amazing theories. It's really awesome to be able to go onto this channel and just find so many people who are so passionate for this game. I cannot wait for episode 5 to come out, which will probably be in another 2 to 3 weeks maybe, so I'm really looking forward to that. But alright guys, thank you all so much. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and please subscribe for more videos in the future. I will see you all in the next one. Stay awesome, guys.